Jaya Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa Prabhupada Ashtotara Sadhri Śrīmad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder-Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa Prabhupada Ashtotara Sadhri Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Thakur Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananda Kodi Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. जय जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम राधा कुंड गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे. All glory to assembled with all glory to assembled with all glory to assembled with all glory Shri Guru Gauranga, all glory Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 5, entitled The Demigods Appeal to the Lord, verse number 35 and 36. Agnirmukham yasya tujata veda Jata kriya kanda nimitta janma Andas samudre nupachan swadhatun Prasidatam na samaha vibhutihi Agnirmukham yasya tujata veda Jada kriya kanda nimitta janma Andas samudre nupajan swadhatun Prasidatam na samaha vibhutihi Agnirmukham yasya tujata veda Jata kriya kanda nimitta janma Antas samudre nupajan swadhatun Prasidatam na samaha vibhuti Agnirmukham yasya tujata veda Jata kriya kanda nimitta janma Antas samudre nupachan swadhatun Prasidatam na samaha vibhuti Agnirmukham yasya tu jata veda. Jata kriya kanda nimitta janma. Anta samudre nupajan swadhatun. Prasedadamna samaha vibhutihi. Mataji. Agnirmukham yasya tu jata veda. Jata kriya kanda nimitta janma. Anta samudre nupajan swadhatun. Prasidatamna samaha vibhuti. Jata kriya kanda nimitta janma. Anta samudre nupajan swadhatun. Prasedadamna samaha vibhutihi. Agnirmukham yasya tu jata veda. Jata kriya kanda nimitta janma. Anta samudre nupajan swadhatun. Prasedadamna samaha vibhuti. Word to word translation, responsibly please. Agni, fire. Mukham, the mouth through which the Supreme Personality of Godhead eats. Yasya, of whom, tu, but. Jata Vedaha, the producer of wealth or of all necessities of life. Jataha, produced. Kriya Kanda, ritualistic ceremonies. Nimitta, for the sake of. Janma, formed for this reason. Antah samudre, within the depths of the ocean. Anupachan, always digesting. Swadhatun, all elements. Prasidatam, may be pleased. Naha, upon us. Saha, he. Mahavibhutihi, the supremely powerful. Fire which is born for the sake of accepting oblations in ritualistic ceremonies is the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Fire exists within the depth of the ocean to produce wealth, and fire is also present in the abdomen to digest food and produce various secretions for the maintenance of the body. May that supremely powerful Personality of Godhead be pleased with us. Verse 36. Yachakshurasi taranir devayanam Traimayo brahmana esha dhishnyam Dwaram cha mukte ramrutam cha mrityu Prasidatam na samaha vibhutihi. The sun god marks the path of liberation, which is called Archiradi Vartama. He is the chief source for understanding of the Vedas. He is the abode where the absolute truth can be worshipped. He is the gateway to liberation, and He is the source of eternal life as well as the cause of death. The Sun God is the eye of the Lord. May that Supreme Lord, who is supremely opulent, may pleased with us. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Sun God is considered to be the chief of the demigods. He is also considered to be the demigod who watches the northern side of the universe. He gives help for understanding the Vedas as confirmed in Brahma Samhita 5:52. Yachakshuresha savita sakala grahanam raja samasta suramurti rashesha tejaha yasya nyaya brahmadi sambhrata kala chakro Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. The Sun, full of infinite effulgence, is the king of all the planets and the image of the good soul. The Sun is like the eye of the Supreme Lord. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in pursuance of whose order the Sun performs its journey, mounting the wheel of time. The Sun is actually the eye of the Lord. In the Vedic mantras, it is stated that unless the Supreme Personality of Godhead sees, no one can see. Unless there is sunlight, no living entity on any planet can see. Therefore, the Sun is considered to be the eye of the Supreme Lord. That is confirmed here by the word Yat Chakshur Asit, and in Brahma Samhita by the word Yat Chakshureva Savita. The word Savita means the Sun God. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Patakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanutam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vichakanitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpadarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bhutair Mahatbhir Yaima Pura Vibhu Nirmaya Shete Yadamusha Purusha Bhungte Gunan Shodashatmaka Sorang Krishishta Bhagavan Vachamsi Me. Hare Krishna. Here Lord Brahma continues his prayer to the Supreme Lord. Here we can see in the previous prayer the importance of Soma, the moon, and his connection to the Supreme Lord was mentioned. Here that discussion continues on to describing the fire here in this verse, and in the next verse the sun. So fire is very important. That's why it is mentioned. The first line itself, Agnir mukham yasya tu jataveta. Agni yasya mukham tu agnihi. Whose mouth is Agni, fire. Who is that? The Supreme Lord's mouth is considered Agni or the fire. How is that? In the sacrificial performances, we offer all the oblations into the fire. And so, the Lord, in the form of fire, is accepting all the offerings. In that way, the Lord's mouth is considered Agni or fire. So in Vedic lifestyle, in the home of a Brahmana, Agni is considered very important. And so, we are not just talking about the fire that we used to cook. Now it has changed. Maybe that fire can be from wood, rarely. Here probably not. And generally it is gas, electric, induction. We have various ways of getting the heat. But the quality of Agni is different when we produce Agni through various means. Probably induction, maybe on the lowest level. Even worst is microwave. That is also Agni, but it's very lowest level. However, here specifically it is mentioned about the fire which is used for sacrifice. And so, there are minimum 3 sacrificial fires in the home of a Brahmana. Or, if you perform any sacrifice, according to the Vedic rites, there have to be at least 3 sacrificial kunds, the pits. There have to be 3 at least. And that's why in Sanskrit, generally the term used is yagagneyaha or yajna agneyaha. Agneyaha is used, meaning plural. It is Agni in connection to yaga, homa, or yajna is never used in singular, because there are at least 3 fire pits which are used for sacrificial offerings. So, Garhapatya is the one which is one of the main ones. And then Ahavaniya is there, and then Anohariya is there. These are 3 fire pits for different purposes in the performance of sacrifice. Now here is mentioned of which this Garhapatya, that fire pit has to be maintained all the time. So if it's the house of a Brahmana, it has to be maintained all the time, 24 hours, 7 days a week. So you can think, even just to maintain fire all the time, it's a bit of a task. It's not so practical just to maintain fire. Even it can be a bit challenging if you do yajna to maintain the fire throughout the yajna. That itself requires some skill and art. Otherwise, if you pour more ghee, everything will be put off. If you throw all the bananas in a small fire, the fire is gone. The yajna finished. But the fire has to continue. So maintaining fire in itself is a task. And that's the reason Krishna speaks in Bhagavad Gita in the first verse of 6th chapter, Anashrita karma phalan karyam karma karotiya sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragri na cha kriya. So na cha akriya, na cha akriya. So he's telling one who is offering the results of the activities to the Supreme Lord, he is the real mystic and real sannyasi. Not one who is not performing the duty, nor having no fire at home. So that fire, na agni, na niragni, no agni, means there is no sacrifices which are going on at home. So Krishna is telling, don't stop your activities. Rather, dedicate it to the Supreme Lord. So there the importance of fire is explained. And these Vedic sacrifices are complicated. It's not so easy. There has to be a yajamana. Yajamana doesn't perform the sacrifice personally. Rather, he sponsors the sacrifice, but he has to be present at the Yajna Vedi, the Vedic arena. But there has to be Hota, who chants invocatory prayers from Rigveda and other Vedas. And there has to be Udgata, who is the one who chants all the Vedic mantras according to the Vedic meters. And there has to be a person who is performing the actual sacrifice, the physical action, setting up and doing the physical action, offering things physically. That is Adhvaryu. Adhvara means sacrifice. Adhvaryu, one who performs the sacrifice. And finally, there has to be Brahma. Brahma is the one who is the supervisor, who makes sure that all the chanting is done properly. And there are no mistakes. And if there are mistakes, they had to chant again. All the rituals are conducted properly. So there are multiple people involved in performing a Vedic sacrifice. It's not so easy. It's not so easy. And who is accepting everything? Agni is accepting. That's the reason in the Vedic time, in the Puranic time rather, there were so much of sacrifices going on that so much of ghee was given to fire. And Agni had indigestion. We can read in Bhagavatam and other Puranas. Agni had indigestion. Too much of fire. It's just like us. If you eat too much, there will be indigestion. Drink so much of ghee and don't do anything, then definitely there will be indigestion. Similarly, Agni had indigestion. And what was the remedy prescribed? Exactly. Agni had to eat Gandhava forest because the Gandhava forest was full of herbs. So that can cure the indigestion of Agni. Was he able to do that? He will try to eat the forest. What will happen? Who knows? Exactly. Indra started pouring down torrential rain. And he didn't want that forest to be devoured by the Agni. Finally, Agni took shelter of Arjuna. And then Arjuna gave protection so that Indra couldn't rain. He couldn't shower. And in the forest, who was that? A person was there. Yeah? In the forest, there was someone who came out and took shelter of Arjuna. Maya Danava. Maya Danava. He was a Danava. He was an Asura. He took shelter of Arjuna and Arjuna had to give protection. So Arjuna gave protection and in return, he constructed the Indraprastha. So this is the connection. So then, ultimately, the fire was able to eat the whole Gandhava forest. So he burned down the Gandhava forest, a huge forest. And in that way, Agni was very much satisfied. So this is the importance of Agni in Vedic sacrifices. However, is that the process for this age? No. We can have some sacrifice here or there, but that is not what we can perform on a daily basis at home. If we have Agni, if we have fire, fire alarm will go off. We'll be in trouble. Rather, it is mentioned we have another fire pit. What is the fire pit that we have? We also have a Yajna Kund with us. Do you know what is a Yajna Kund that we have? Any idea? Oh, no, not the cooking pot. Not that Yajna Kund. Yes, that can also be a Yajna. There is another cooking pot, not Yajna Kund. entire process is, in fact, we can see that the entire process is spiritual by nature. One time I remember we had a program in one of the universities here, I think Monash, maybe 10-15 years back, and Janmashtami program, and we got Aniruddha Prabhu to give a talk to the Hindu society. And before eating, we brought prasadam. So before eating, they all started chanting, or few of them started chanting this Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavir, like that. They started chanting the whole thing. So at that point, it was perfectly right, because they're going to honor prasadam. Then this verse makes complete sense, because everything is Brahman. But otherwise, just eating anything, offering to a demigod, or if offering is taking place to someone else, or unoffered, this verse is not applicable. So this is the Yagagni, the fire as it is mentioned, that is Agnir Mukham Yasya. The next point is Jataveta, meaning that there is, first of all, we need to understand there is wealth in the depths of ocean. Pearls, where is it coming from? The ocean. There are many jewels and many wealth can come from the ocean. So it is very important that ocean is also having fire. There are ocean fires are there. In scientifically, different inflammable gases come out and it get in touch with oxygen and then get inflamed, whatever. There is ocean fires. So that causes, according to Vedic literature, that temperature actually causes different kinds of jewels to be produced within the depths of ocean. So in that way, it is considered the source of ocean. And fire is also present within us as Jadharagni. Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamas Ashritaha Pranapana Samoyukta Pachamyannam Chadurvidham. So this fire in the stomach that regulates the inhaling and exhaling and all the airflow, and also it digests the 4 kinds of food. Chadurvidham, Pachamyannam Chadurvidham. If we don't have digestion fire, then we have problem. According to Ayurveda, all the problems are coming from the fire. There is no fire, then there is problem. And it can digest the food of 4 kinds. Chadurvidham, the food which can be drinkable, which can be sucked, that which can be licked, which can be chewed. These are the 4 kinds of food. Everything is digested by the digestive fire, which Krishna says, Aham. Aham Vaishwanara Bhutva. I am that fire. So good fire is a good indication. If we are having prasadam and digesting in the right consciousness. So this is the digestive fire. Then it is also mentioned that fire produces different secretions within the body for the maintenance of the body. If the body is dead, you touch the body, it is cold. Dead body is cold. So fire has to be there. And if there is fire in the body, then the whole body functions. So this fire is so important, and that fire is the Supreme Lord. It is the energy of the Supreme Lord. So that's we have to understand. Next is talking about the sun. Here there are many important statements which are given about sun. What is that? Sun god marks the path of liberation. Devayanam. Already this term Devayanam was described in the previous canto, in the last chapter, 15th chapter of 7th canto. There is Pitrayanam and Devayanam. The 2 paths, 2 Vedic paths. One is called Pitrayana and Devayana. Pitrayana is referring to Pravritti Marga, and Devayana referring to Nivritti Marga. Pravritti Marga meaning the entanglement within this world. The activities, the karmic activities, karma kanda activities, that which entangle one to this material world, that is Pravritti Marga. So, primarily, Pitrayana refer to Pravritti Marga, and Nivritti Marga, or the path of liberation, is called Devayana. And it has connection to the sun god. So that's what is described here. So how they are connected in Vedic times, generally, even otherwise, people may perform unregulated sense gratification, which is the most common thing in this world. regulated sense gratification doesn't exist. It's all unregulated, right? So that's what goes on at this point in time. But when one has this Vedic knowledge, then they adhere to Vedic sense gratification according to Vedic rituals. So there are activities which we had to perform. They are the karmakanda activities by which one can regulate one's senses, and eventually one can go to higher planets. So essentially this is the Pitriyana. It is called Pitriyana because the Pitrus who have obtained higher planets, they can help in this path. And it is going to that path, those Pitrus, not those who are going to hell. They cannot help. So those who are going to higher planets, they can help. That's why it is called Pitriyana process. And in this Pitriyana, they perform this Vedic Karmakanda activities, and the first destination they want to reach is moon planet. So in the previous verse it was mentioned about the moon planet. They want to go to moon planet, they want to drink Somarasa, etc. And in Devayana, the path is different. Because in the 4th canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, it is explained that after obtaining this human form of life, after so much of struggle in obtaining this human form of life, now if somebody adopts to this Pitriyana, somebody adopts to Karmakanda activities, such a person is called Atma Dhruk. Bata Atma Dhruk. Bata means alas, he's an Atma Dhruk, meaning he's cheating himself. He's a cheater of himself. Why? Because this is again a path that which will entangle us to this material world. So, and that too, Krishrana, after performing so much of austerities, one performed this Vedic sacrifices as we discussed earlier, and still one is entangled to this world. One may go to heavenly planet, again, Kshine Punnye Marte Lokam Vishanti. You enjoy for some time, then come back to this world. So it is considered, it's a futile attempt. Rather, the recommendation is here is for Devayana. Again, this Devayana and Pitriyana, they are Gauna Dharma. They are not the main process. So when we talk about Devayana, it is again a process of Jnana Marga. It's an aspect of Jnana Marga. It is not bhakti, or it's not a very high process. Rather, in this process is explained in the previous chapter that one goes to various planets starting from the planet of Agni. So that's why the previous verse and this verse are connected. It's starting from the planet of Agni, and that's why in the translation you can read Archadivartma. Archiradivartma. Archi means fire, flame. It's called Archi. Archiradivartma. Adi means etc. So the Vartma means the path. The path starting from fire, or the planet of fire. So that's how such a Jnani get elevated, starting from the planet of fire, because fire there is a lot of purity. And further, such a person gets elevated through different lokas, even Indra Loka, Prajapati Loka, and finally he reaches Brahma's planet. So this is a very long process. So that's the reason it is mentioned that this process is so much, it has many births and deaths. One cannot directly go, but it has many births and deaths. So in individual planets, this jiva has to take birth, but there also such a person pursue the path of jnana, a spiritual path. There, such a person will not get entangled by sense gratification. Then it is called Devayana. And another reason it is mentioned that in this process, ultimately one enters the Brahma's planet through the sun rays. That is ultimately one goes through the sun rays. That's why here, if you read in this verse, the sun god marks the path of liberation, which is called Archiradivatma, because it is Devayana. Ultimately, one goes through sun, and then from sun again further up to the Brahmaloka. So that's it, Archiradivarma. He is the chief source of understanding of the Vedas. He is the abode where the absolute truth can be worshipped. So from the planet of sun, one can further progress towards liberation. So that's why it is mentioned in this way. And that's why he's called Traimayaha. Traimaya. Trai meaning the three Vedas. Traimaya means he has the knowledge of three Vedas. We know that sun god is a very great personality. Imam vivashyate yogam proktava nahamavayam. So Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita first to sun god. So that's why he has all the knowledge. That's why it's called Traimaya. He has the three Vedic knowledge. So that's why it's meant Traimaya. Brahmana Esha Dhishnyam. So this is the process through which one can go on the path of liberation. So the sun god is considered, or the sun planet is considered, the gateway to liberation, and he is a source of eternal life as well as the cause of death. So he can actually go beyond in this path. However, we know this path is not so easy. Who can perform this kind of sacrifices without material motive and gradually elevate upwards through different planets and get to Brahmaloka, and then from there one may go to the spiritual world, or Gyani generally end up in Brahmajyoti. So this is the path of Devayana, and that is described in this verse. Now Srila Prabhupada explains further that sun is considered here, what is mentioned, he is the eye of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada explains this very beautifully. Yachakshureva savita sagala grahanam. How he is the eye of all living entities, all demigods, all the planets, because without the sunlight, no one can see. So that's why he is considered greatest of the demigods, because there is dependency on sun. Sun is there. That is the difference between the upper planets and the lower planets. Upper planets, there is sunlight, whereas the lower planets, Bilasurga, there is no sunlight. So this is the situation. However, we are not interested in these paths. Our path is, as we explained, our yagya is, we have the yagya kund of 2 ears, we have the ladle of tongue, we have the ghee of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and the fire of bhakti will blaze within the heart. So this is the process. And Sankirtan Yajna is the process. And so we don't really worry about Pitriyana or Devayana. We don't worry about these paths. And we may not even discuss so much about this path. We don't even know all the details of this path, because they are irrelevant to us and they are unimportant at this point in time. So we can really focus on Sankirtan Yajna. How can you focus on Sankirtan Yajna? One, we can chant at home. We can go out and chant. We can also perform Sankirtan by distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. Very powerful Yajna, powerful Sankirtan, because out on the street, we're going to stop people and we're going to speak about Krishna. So we have more fire pits. We have more yajna kunds. There are unlimited yajna kunds which are there, out there. They are the ears of the people. To them, we can speak about Krishna. We can give them a book. In other words, there our hand becomes the ladle. And what is the ghee that is being poured? Here it is given, Srila Prabhupada's books. And that is being accepted through the ears and through the hand. Both act as the yajna kund. So this is the sacrifice of Sankirtan, where we can use our hand, we can use Srila Prabhupada's books, and we can give that to conditioned souls. So many people, we are also conditioned. We are trying to escape, so we can help others. So this is the recommended process at this point in time. And people become very happy when they receive a book. When they hear the holy name in Harinam Sankirtan, people become very happy, very obvious. Similarly, when they receive book with the right understanding, they become so happy. They become very thankful. They become grateful. Isn't it? So this is, again, blazing of bhakti. They are getting some agyada sukriti. That the bhakti is beginning, kindling by the acceptance of a book. So now we have this Bhadra Purnima campaign, Bhagavatam distribution campaign that has started, which is going to end on 18th of September. Again, it's a sacrifice. Bhadra Purnima is in the Bhadra month, Purnima, that is the day Śrīmad Bhāgavatam was spoken by Shukadeva Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit. So such a great day. And it is mentioned that we are distributing Bhagavatam so that they get the ultimate benefit. As it is mentioned, on that day, if one gives Bhagavatam on a golden throne, one can go back home, back to Godhead. But it doesn't matter on that particular day. We are leading up to that. So we are distributing Bhagavatam. We are trying to give out around 250 Bhagavatam sets. Already many Bhagavatams have been distributed, right? Mataji has distributed many Bhagavatam. Nice. Many devotees are distributing Bhagavatam. So it's good. We all have to take part in distributing Bhagavatam. So we have to think, who can I give Bhagavatam? If we are doing contact by contact, we have to think, oh, maybe he's a right candidate. Can start speaking to them, right? We have to, known people, we have to start speaking. If we are out in the street, if we are in the city, we can go show Bhagavatam in Crossface. We keep a couple of copies of Bhagavatam, so distributors, if they want to show Bhagavatam, bring them to Crossface, show them Bhagavatam. If you are in car park, the best, because your booth becomes a library, right? Bring everyone, that's what we do. We distributing Bhagavatam, then speak to people, bring them, we have something special for you. Come to the boot of the car, open, and suddenly they get a shock. The whole set of Bhagavatam there. I remember distributing a Bhagavatam maybe a couple of years back in Bendigo. I was thinking, look, I had to distribute a Bhagavatam. I had my lunch, I was in the car, and I was just coming out, somehow I had to distribute a Bhagavatam. As got out, next car, maybe, few meters away, one guy was standing, in a shorts, just cool guy. Asked him, look, this is Bhagavad Gita. I'm a monk distributing Bhagavad Gita about spiritual knowledge, yoga, meditation, etc. So he was, I'm into it. He started speaking about Nityananda, this, that, everything. Oh yeah, very good. You are very special, something special for you. Come and check it out. So just nearby, opened, explained Bhagavatam. He said, this is good for you. He said, yeah, that's right. I was following a bit of spirituality. I have stopped everything. Looks like it's a wake-up call. Yeah, definitely it's a wake-up call. So take the book and they give the money. Took the book. So that's it. So this is how it is. So we have to encourage people to take Bhagavatam. And if we try, Krishna will reciprocate, someone will come, isn't it? This is our experience in book distribution. So we have to sell Bhagavatam, gift Bhagavatam, or if you don't have a Bhagavatam, buy a Bhagavatam, whatever. Take part in this yajna. So that is Sankirtan yajna. Then we will have the fire of bhakti. Chanting and preaching. So that is a sacrifice. And that's what is meant for us. And here, Prabhupada beautifully explains how sun god is the eye. And one more point, Prabhupada makes a very interesting point here. So the sun is actually the eye of the Lord. In the Vedic mantra, it is said that unless the Supreme Personality of Godhead sees, no one can see. So there is another meaning also to it. That whatever we are seeing, who is allowing us to see anything? The super soul within. So who is the real seer? Super soul is the real seer. Paramatma is the real seer. We are only a secondary seer. We think we are the seer. Super soul is not seeing. We are the secondary seer. That's why Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, when he came, he told that I came here to teach the difference between the seer and the seen. Drashta and the drishti. Seer and the seen. I came to teach the difference between seer and the seen. And who is the seer? The Lord. And seen, that is us. So he wanted to make the point that we are being seen by the Lord. We are not the seer. The Lord is the seer. We are only a secondary seer and we are being seen by the Lord. So Bhaktivedanta was presenting this point. And ultimately, everything, in any devotional activity, we are only the secondary part. The Lord is the primary part. So that we can see here. So the Lord is the actual seer, and without the Lord, no one can see. So that is another point, that without the Supreme Lord, no one can see. Hare Krishna. Is there any questions or comments? Yes, you have a question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the nice
Thank
class. Prabhu, you mentioned how from the sun planet we can go to Brahma Loka and from there we can go back home, back to Godhead. But we see in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 8:16, Krishna says that from the material world to like the topmost planet are all places of misery, but someone who attains my abode will never come back. So how can we understand, like how can someone go back home, back to Godhead from the Brahmaloka planet?
Yeah. Brahmaloka planet is suitable for going back home, back to Godhead. Yes, generally the fact is Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. Yes, from mid-earthly planet all the way to Brahmaloka, everywhere there is repeated birth and death. But in Brahmaloka, if Brahma is a pure devotee and all the residents of Brahmaloka performs pure devotional service, then they can go back home, back to Godhead. But for that one has to wait for a very long time. One has to wait for the lifetime of Brahma. That's why it is not a recommended process. That is point number one. Point number two is to get to Brahma's planet. Is it easy? Proper performance of Varnashrama Dharma for 100 lifetimes. Can we do any Varna or any ashram perfectly for one lifetime? So, for us chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is easier. So, if we ask about Varnashrama, means failure guaranteed. You know, Udgata, Hoda, Brahma, where will he have all the sacrificial places, pure ingredients? We don't have anything. So, that's why getting up to Brahma's planet is very difficult and there is a long wait time. So yes, it is possible, but not easy, not recommended, not practical. So even Devayana is also considered a secondary process. It's not the normal process also. It's also a secondary process even to attain liberation, going through different stages and finally getting there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any final question? Okay. If not, thank you very much. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.